Hello, I'm Joseph Barker, and welcome to the Finding Ability podcast. A place where people are able, adaptable, brave, loving, and exceptional. This is a place where we get into deep conversations about how we can make our lives better and how we can make the world a better place.
Hello and welcome to Finding Ability. This is Joseph Barker, as always, and today is the Power of Posture 2. So the last episode was about the power of posture and the foundations of what it means to have good posture, which was mostly actually just talking about your own connection to your physical body. So developing interoception and proprioception and just reminding yourself on a regular basis what is your posture, which, can be quite challenging, especially when we're so busy with work, family and home life, as well as all of the other things that take our attention. A lot of those things are not our body, and so there isn't a lot of things that actually demand our attention unless it's pain or hunger or whatever else it might be. So today is going to be about feet. This is about the foundation of your posture in your body. So how you stand matters. The mobility of your feet and ankles matter. And that's something that when it comes into a lot of people's awareness or life or habits, there might not be a lot of time spent on that. And that might be why you're here. So, what are some first things to cover? Well, what your feet are in a lot of the time is probably shoes. And shoes aren't evil or horrible, but there are shoes that are going to be better and some shoes that are worse. And so, what makes a better shoe? Well, as I mentioned before, the mobility of our feet and our ankles is important. And so when it comes into our shoes, having more mobility through the sole of the shoe is important. And I'm sure everybody has at least one pair of shoes or boots in which the sole is like concrete. It's like one singular unit that has almost no bend to it. And as much as that might be great for specific situations, whether it's work and the safety around that, or maybe it's some kind of like rigid hiking boot or shoe, those are okay to be used within a certain limited amount of time. But what you're really looking for, if you want better foot, ankle, lower body health, is you want a shoe that has as much mobility as your foot. And so you can bring your toes up and you can bring your toes down. You can dorsiflex and plantar flex your foot and your ankle. So you want something that can help support that and that won't provide too much resistance when you're making those basic movements. Imagine if we had gloves or mitts that would limit our capacity to open or close our hands. It wouldn't be very practical, and eventually you would just take off the gloves. So, having shoes that have more capacity to actually keep your feet mobile, that's important. And you can do a quick test with any of your shoes by just bending them. Luckily, over the last 10 years, there's been much more barefoot or minimal shoes coming out onto the market. I myself have been using Vibram for the last, I believe, since 2009, and I love them. I feel like I'm pretty much barefoot all the time. I can take them to the beach, on hikes, even just driving around. And to me, it feels great because I feel as close as I can to barefoot as possible. Now, there are other brands. I don't have personal experience with them, but I know quite a few people who have used them and are big fans. Now, I have brought up the importance of mobility a few times. Now, why is that important? Well, because actually quite a lot of hip and knee and low back issues and pain can be caused by the limitations of mobility within our feet and our ankles. Now, why is that the case, Joseph? That's a weird thing to say. Well, when it comes into having lack of mobility through the foot and the ankle, whenever you take a step, it then is impeding your capacity to walk in a more natural capacity. So a lot of people will tend to walk with their legs quite wide and their feet and their legs kind of twisted out. A lot of people walk like that. It's similar to like when you see a baby walking, it's like very wide and very like wobbly left and right. And as you actually increase your mobility through your feet and your ankles, you then have an ability to walk at a much more contained gait, and your whole body can be much longer. There's less wobbling, and it's just a lot better overall. And in my case, running a clinic for quite a few years, as people's gait improves, so do a lot of the symptoms reduce. The symptoms of like nagging aches or pains within, again, their ankles, their knees, their hips, their low back. And with some people, I've even taken them through a single therapeutic movement for that region, and it took away their low back pain, which was relatively debilitating at that time. So, what are some things that you can do? Like I said before, shoes that have flexible soles are quite important. And if you ever need to get new shoes, that's something that I would recommend to look into. Unless, of course, you need like steel toe boots, some kind of workplace boot that's going to require a lot of, safety. But otherwise, you want it as flexible as possible. Another thing that you can do is to go barefoot whenever you can, even taking off socks. Exposing your feet to the cold and to the ground or to the elements isn't inherently a bad thing. It might not be comfortable, but that is okay. And if you ever want to look into the benefits of grounding or earthing or just having your bare feet on the ground, there's quite a lot of that online. There's even an entire documentary called Earthing, I believe, that just goes through all the science of how beneficial it is for us to actually have our feet in contact with the earth. Another thing that you can do is do toes up, foot down, toes down, which is actually a therapeutic tool that I use with pretty much every single client that I have. Because if their feet and their ankles are tight, the amount of negative aspects that move through the rest of the body are quite high. And no one ever really teaches us how to sit, stand, walk. And that's what I've put a lot of my focus into over the last 7 years in trying to help people out. Because if we can walk better, then we can do a lot of other things better. Another thing that you can do is self-massage, whether it's with coconut oil, shea butter, your favorite massage oil, doesn't matter. A great thing to do after a hot bath or shower, and a great thing to do at nighttime before bed. That's one of the easiest things that you can do that has almost no cost, doesn't require a lot of time, and if you do it regularly, will have quite a lot of positive benefits over the long term. And it might not feel orgasmic or amazing at the time, but that little bit of self-care regularly will help in the long run. Then the last thing that you can do is walk with intention. And that may seem silly because a lot of the time we're actually walking because we have to move from point A to point B to C, D, all the way to Z. But if you can actually take a deep breath in when you are walking and then move forward while noticing the sensations in your body, that is a very helpful thing. Walking meditation is actually one of the best things that a lot of more, in quotes, advanced Buddhist practitioners do. And within the shamanic frame of reference, they're known to remind people to walk on the earth like it knows that you exist, or walk on the earth like it knows that you're there. And so it's just taking a little bit of focus and awareness back into your body so that when you're actually walking, you're not stuck in your head thinking about a whole bunch of things. You're taking your time to be focused on your body as you move through space. Awesome. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day. This is Joseph again, here at Finding Ability. Be well.